Tesla stock is up over 10% in the last 2 days, 10.26%. You know what else is up? My fever. But there's too much going on with Tesla stock for me to stay in bed all day. So I'm not going to do that. Also notice how Tesla stock was down here significantly, and also the markets were down here as well. And remember how in this video, this last weekend, I said that in terms of Tesla stock, specific bad news for Tesla stock, probably most of the bad news is in already, perhaps. It's more about the macro environment now than Tesla stock specifically. And if you look at the market right here in the last 2 days, these charts are sort of similar. This is a Tesla chart, and Tesla stock is mostly up during these 2 days because the markets are up. So let's see what's going on with the markets and also what's happening with Tesla stock. The reason why I'm making this video today, my throat is not feeling bad anymore, although my voice sounds a little bit weird. But I found that I felt better yesterday after making the video than I was just lying in bed. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make videos. Another thing that's happening with Tesla stock right now, as it keeps going up, there's more momentum for it to actually keep going up because it breaks these certain resistance levels. For example, watch 180.68 for another breakout higher. And we already closed today higher than that. So what that does is it makes traders who just trade the stock go into the stock with long positions, which puts further pressure for the stock to go up. And you start seeing some Tesla stock bulls saying that $300 is possible by May. And James is fairly, he picks on Elon, he picks on Tesla. He's not overly bullish. So here's what he says. Tesla needs a strong Q1, which, to be honest, should be a given following the price cuts. I agree with that. With deliveries near 450,000 vehicles, and we need to keep seeing macro inflation indicators trend favorably. If this happens, I can see $300 by May. So for the next year or so, interest rates and what inflation does as well, that is extremely important to Tesla stock price if you are interested in that. Now, today, as expected, the Fed raised the target interest rates by 25 basis points to a new range of 4.5 to 4.75. They did not remove phrase ongoing increases to describe future rate hikes, which some expected. There were no material changes in comparing this statement versus the December Fed statement. This may seem a little bit confusing. The Fed did exactly what everyone expected, so how in the world the markets are up today significantly because of the Fed? Well, this is actually a factor. It's because of the bad news that we just had. And I know, what? Bad news? How does that make? How can that make the markets go up? Here's how. If you look at these employment numbers, the actual was 160,000 versus 235,000 previous, versus an estimate of 180,000. This, for the stock market, is good because this makes the Federal Reserve to not increase the rates anymore, because when you increase rates, you destroy employment basically, and because there are less jobs, now the Fed is more likely to pivot and cut interest rates, and when that happens, all of the stocks rally. So even though the Fed is raising rates, the market is actually lowering the rates, basically. This is hilarious to watch. Cappy Wood was on TV today as well, saying that the Fed generally follows the market. I'll be making a video about that soon as well. But hopefully we get a soft landing, although actually that would not be very good for Tesla stock, because I want another buying opportunity. I want Tesla stock to stay at $100 per share for a little bit longer so I can load up a whole bunch more. Here's what is also helping the markets today. Equity markets rallying because Powell is acknowledging that disinflationary process has begun. Not deflation, disinflation, which means inflation is slowing down. So for example, if we have 8% inflation. Now let's say it's 4%. That is disinflation, even though we are still having inflation. That's what disinflation means. Disinflationary process has begun, and that goods inflation is coming down fast. Powell also clarified that ongoing increases means a couple more increases, so 2 increases. Which, to Gary's credit, he got that exactly right earlier today. This is before today's announcement. He said, we expect Fed pause after 25 basis points increases in February, which happened today, and March. Then a pause followed by a pivot in the second half of 2023. We expect Powell to maintain his hawkish posture in his press conference today to keep investor risk appetite from rising further after a stellar January. Although Powell perhaps was not as hawkish today as Gary expected, hawkish means interest rates go up. Powell had many opportunities to be hawkish but didn't take advantage. He was asked about pausing interest rate hikes before the federal funds rate got to 5% and didn't pour cold water on it, saying they would get more data and come up with a new dot plot in March. And then this looks like a mic drop. So yeah, it will be very interesting to see what the Fed does. For me, I just keep dollar cost averaging. That makes my life very simple. Also, good news overall about Tesla's inventory. It's coming down bit by bit, and when we look at the Model 3 specifically, it has come down significantly today. Looks good so far. I'm seeing this concern, which is a very valid concern and a very good question to ask. Does the lack of backlog worldwide, even amidst deep price cuts, concern you? Here's what James said. It does not concern me yet. Here's why. When we look at the inventory, Tesla is operating with much more inventory than it has historically, and this smooths out wait times. When you look at the production rate, it is higher than Q4, and more importantly, future production rate will be higher still. But a lot more importantly, historical wait times were inflated because the backlog was inflated. Tesla changed their order policy, and this corrected the backlog. The perception is that the backlog went from very long to very short, but the reality is it was never as long as reported. Tesla manages supply and demand. Here's what James means by that exactly. So before, if you placed an order for a Tesla vehicle, you could delay that delivery over and over and over and over and over again, and then suddenly, oh, there's a price increase. Okay, now I'm taking delivery of that vehicle. And what am I going to do? I'm going to sell that vehicle. But I will keep postponing my delivery until there's a price increase. And then I flip the car for profit. All of that disappeared when Tesla changed the delivery policy, basically. And also, there were a lot of people that ordered before, but they're like, I don't have money at this moment. I did not get approved for the loan, so I can just delay it again for the 5th time now. And Tesla will say, yeah, no problem. We can delay it. No problem. Now Tesla just says, yeah, we're canceling your order. And then you have your stuff together, then you can actually take delivery. Also, keep in mind, Q1 is typically not the best quarter for automakers. It's a difficult time, especially if you try to compete and make an electric EV an EV company. This is also good. Real-world winter range of Tesla vehicles is underappreciated. Tesla Model S long range sets a new record for winter distance in most comprehensive test ever in Norway. Model S did a whopping 530 kilometers, while the second place was Mercedes with only 409 kilometers. Tesla has a lot of tricks up its sleeves that other automakers have not figured out yet, and it's going to take a while for them. And by the time they figure these tricks, Tesla will have new ones. This is also good. The president of Indonesia is giving a concession to Tesla because there's a little bit of competition between Mexico and Indonesia at the moment. Currently, until we hear final details from Tesla, I wouldn't take any of these reports too seriously. This is just negotiation right now. But clearly, there are more and more rumors. And Indonesia specifically is giving Tesla a concession of nickel. Tesla needs access to a lot of raw materials. Look at this. Although EV sales have scaled exponentially, the consensus forecast is linear. I can't believe it. This is consensus forecast in 2017. This was the forecast. This is what actually happened. And you would think people, analysts, they would learn from their mistakes and they would change their future models, right? Wrong. Look at this right here. Consensus forecast up until 2027. Yeah, they are not learning their lessons here. And this is what ARK Invest is projecting, which I think is going to be a lot more closer to the reality than the analyst consensus. Also, keep in mind that the inventory is being cleared despite interest rates being at all-time decade highs for new cars at about 8.5%. This was before the increase in interest rates today. Here's something you don't see every day from mainstream media. Mainstream media being positive about Tesla. Exclusive Tesla to raise Shanghai output after price cuts stoke demand. And more good news, Ross and I share love of Tesla and humongous respect for what Elon has achieved for Tesla. Tesla will be the most consequential company of our era. So perhaps the war between Elon and the billionaire all-in Tesla stock investor Leo is going to end. Don't even think about it. Just a few days ago, Leo did basically accuse Elon of a robbery. I will point out one interesting fact. So this was on January 31st, but at 2:49 a.m. Pacific time in Canada. And this was on January 30th. So this is when, around this time, this is when one of the tweets was tweeted. So Tesla stock was down a little bit already, basically. And then another tweet after market close, basically. Tesla stock was down significantly that day. Usually, I think it appears to me when Tesla stock does well, no negative tweets. With some exceptions, of course, but that's generally the rule. If I personally was more concerned about short-term Tesla stock movements, I would be looking at the interest rates and the economy and the inflation as well. And this is the buying opportunity for Tesla stock explained by Elon Musk. My name is Matt Postis. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.